Most athletes are only training muscle and do not train direct connective tissue in training or fascia. And this is the root of your problems. In this video, we're just going to break down the simplest terms that we can explain to you to break down where it all starts, right? Your hands and your feet. The connection between the two runs up your entire chain of the body, spiraling around you, right? To be able to literally fire muscles, number one. Number two, make sure that you're getting correct protein synthesis and things are getting turned on when you train, right? And so many people have muscle imbalances. We talk to so many athletes on a daily basis on what they're dealing with and their struggles and what we dealt with, right? Nas had chronic Achilles issues. He busted his sternum. I've had hip and low back issues for a very, very long time. Daz, flip the camera. That's Footbit. Daz Elite. Daz had MCL tears, ripped up his knee in college playing wrestling. And the second that we started to understand this approach, we actually evolved in training, grew, stopped getting injured. We haven't been injured as a team for I couldn't tell you how long now. We do all these crazy feats in the gym. We do speed days twice a week, and Daz is wrestling twice a week, 3 times a week, and he's not getting injured. And it's literally it's a secret ingredient, but it's not. And once guys understand this, you start to just kind of, it clicks right away. It's almost like a spiritual kind of connection thing where it's like, okay, what is fascia? What is connective tissue? What turns on muscle to be able to actually have it fire and not have imbalances and not have one side weaker than the other and not be able to fire or being able to be balanced on both sides, right?
Just a lot of training right now currently is a lot of push, heavy weight, and you're just trying to feel your muscle. And a lot of things that people are lacking right now is straight just feeling your body, your connective tissue, like Much was saying right now, the fascia. It's hard for us to connect to it if you aren't diligently trying to actually connect to it. Your connective tissue is literally connective tissue. You need to connect to it. And a lot of times people in like Western world, they don't meditate, and doing stuff like what we're doing, meditations right here, is really just trying to feel into your body and feel the connective tissue. And these are big things for people who are overcoming injuries. That may be the missing piece for you. So right here, right now, I'm just doing a meditation, and I'm literally standing on my forefoot, and you have this grape-like muscle under your heel right here that is basically the start of your fascia, your start of your connective tissue. And you want to be thinking about it as you're doing a standing meditation, thinking about the energy coming from your foot all the way up from your calves, your knees, your hamstrings, your glutes, and even sometimes your core. So you just want to really connect to your body, and that's just a big part of training and getting out of pain.
Yeah, so to sum it all up, right, like the issue with a lot of these training programs is they're only focusing on isolating individual muscle groups. What we're doing with Nas doing the meditation here, the isometric here, is we're connecting the entire body as one unit. So that's the real key, because when you're moving as an athlete, when you're moving in everyday life, you're never just using one individual muscle, you're using your entire body. So doing movements like this that integrate instead of isolate is what helps you heal imbalances, become a better athlete, and get out of pain. This also applies to the upper body, right? The same way that we can channel energy through the feet up to the glutes and the core and the entire lower body, we can do the same thing with the hands, right? So focusing on grip strength, right?
So Daz Elite is landmine coiling core master. Show them an example real quick.
Yeah, so regular landmine right here. We're going to go on the toes.
So right? This is a movement. Again, this is a movement that we do with athletes in the gym very often.
Here. On the toes, I'm going to turn the palm out.
Turning on the fascia of the foot. Yep, he's turning on the fascia of the foot. He's on his toes, right? You guys can see that clearly. Nas, can they see that?
Yep.
Great. And then also, what else is he doing, right? Because there's fascia up and down the entire chain of the body. He's twisting his spine at a very strong intent, right? Look at this. You see that? And he's on his toes, trying to fire the entire chain, right? And so this is like combining the upper portion of fascia with the lower portion of fascia, but keep going with the grips. What's going on with the hands?
So we're connecting the whole body, right? The feet connect the lower body to the core. The hands connect the upper body to the core, right? So if all you're doing is curls, triceps, maybe some lateral raises, you're not working your connective tissue, you're just working muscles. So one thing we can do, the same way we're focusing on how the center of the foot channels energy and connects the body and the lower body, focus on the center of that hand, okay? Right here, I'm gonna grab the landmine. I can load this up pretty heavy. All I'm gonna do is hold this, but actively focus and keep this intent of channeling, squeezing the center of my hand and feeling that connection run up my forearm, my upper arm, my shoulder, all the way up to my neck and the top of my head. What this is doing is not only strengthening my grip, it's also connecting my entire body as one unit. You can hold this for anywhere from minute, minute and a half, 3 minutes. Really challenge yourself to connect this upper body, and you'll see great results in your upper body health and longevity.
So think about what we're talking about here, right? You guys we as athletes, we're taught bodybuilding principles, right? You train the muscles to failure, you push weight, you push heavy load to a certain extent, you get muscle fatigue, you build muscle, but you still get injured, you have back pain, you have all these issues. We're trying to help you understand to be able to fire the entire chain, right? It may look woo-woo, but if you think about it, right? Your hand is the start of the upper. Your feet are the start of your lower. What do you use most, right? Is the hands and the feet all day long. You might not realize it, but what we're doing, right? If you think about the fascia, okay, this up on the toes is firing my feet. Him holding this is firing his hand, but it also fires the Achilles, the calf, the hamstrings, the glutes, as you work more and more into this.
And another example to tie it all together, right? So we activate the feet, we activate the hands. Most important is the core. And I'm not talking about doing crunches to get a six pack. I'm talking about the deep core muscles. Most people do not have balanced core muscles. So what I mean by that is they're muscles that actually bend the core, the QL, the transverse abdominis. So how we can work that before we progress somebody here in the gym to a movement like the landmine, we just have them coil, right? So if you have no equipment, right, all you need to do, go thumbs together right here, interlace on the toes, right? We're never on our heels. We're just driving the elbow down, hiking the hip up. So we're getting a nice side bend through the torso, and we're holding this for time. So what I'm doing here is I'm actively lengthening my entire torso through this left side, and I'm actively squeezing and contracting the right side of my torso to help build balance in rotation through the torso. Because if all you're doing, and you'll see Mooch is doing the same thing here, we always start with body weight, really build that isometric tension, activate the intent of the fascia, and then you can translate this into something weighted to build more power and more strength. Right, so you'll see Mooch is going real short through this left side, and then he's lengthening through the other side, right? Now, Nas, come around here just so they can see the back angle, okay? The deep connective tissue of his lower back is right here, okay? So what he's doing is he's contracting this whole side and lengthening the other side. That's gonna help him be able to rotate his torso, to be able to move and rotate better with less tightness and less pain. Yep, same thing here. With the landmine, now he's adding this. He's doing it dynamically. He's getting those muscles to synchronize. That connective tissue is synchronizing and firing all the way from the hip up to the shoulder and the hands. It's full body integration. So if you're not training like this, you're not becoming the best athlete possible.
Now,
that simple.
I love ATG. ATG is phenomenal for injury prevention, right? And how does this all correlate? He's Mr. Weck method, right? Mr. Coiling Core, right? We're incorporating the fascia. We got Nas behind the camera, Mr. Fascia. You need to incorporate it all. There's functional patterns, right? And all these strength coaches would understand. Maybe some athletes understand what I'm talking about, but how does this all interlink together? Well, there's different things that you need to focus on as an athlete. Number one, you need to make sure muscles are firing correctly so that you can train them properly. There's nothing wrong with lifting. If you play a contact sport,
you should be lifting.
I gotta be able to move him. He's gotta be able to move me, right? So you literally have, it's force, right? Even if you don't play a contact sport. If I go like this so many times, how am I just gonna be able to be strong just doing this stuff? Don't get me wrong, it's phenomenal. And we are going to do it and incorporate it as much as we can. Right? But how can I be more explosive from my posterior chain? Think about the fascia chain that he was talking about on my whole back chain, right? Working the ATG split squat, I'm opening up my entire chain of the hip flexor into the bottom, back leg active, sinking, pressing out of it, right? Daza, holding an isometric in the back extension. If you see his feet, come here real close, his feet are active. He's firing that fascia up the entire chain of the body, right? How can you get reps with the back extension? Go down, right? Now we're building strength. So it's the fascia connection, but it's also gaining strength in muscle, because muscle you can use. Muscle is great. If you can't fire the muscle though, it's not super valuable in training it. So this is why we're telling you to activate connective tissue to then fire it in training and make the best results per session. Yeah, that's to sum up pretty much what we're talking about in this video. It's just kind of us being off the top of our head, what we think about on a daily basis in the gym. How can we incorporate more into each session without necessarily neglecting anything? We incorporate ATG principles, we incorporate the landmine stuff, we incorporate fascia training, because I, as well as all these guys, have realized that if we neglect it, there's more on the table that we can gain. We're building
Train this now.
Hey, we're building
Start
the
training right
freakiest athletes in the world. Like it's undefeated.
We use it all. We use it all. We
literally-
use it all. Straight up. So this is something that you can't neglect. Fascia, strength training, connective tissue strength training, muscles, it's all the same. You just got to be connected to it. Get it rolling.
Stay locked in.